So excited to have you back for another episode of Spiritual Fertility. This is Alison Bucklin, and I have a lovely guest for you today. She's somebody that was in my mind when I first created this podcast, and it took us a little while to get together, but that's okay because it is the right place and time for our conversation to come through to you. I want to thank everybody who has listened to the podcast, who has shared the podcast, who has talked about it or given me their insight. I appreciate all of you and just ask you to continue to share your love and light through the to the world. And so the intention, as my guest and I were speaking ahead of time, the intention that came through for this episode is that of awareness and attitude, and really keep moving forward on your path in spite of the valleys and the peaks that are going to come along the way. And it really does take an awareness of ourself, of our body, our physical body, our mind, our spiritual wellness and health that comes together to give us the opportunity to be in the place to be aware and trust that the path we are on is the one that we are meant to be on. And certainly we can find tools along the way to help guide us. We can find people along the way, communities along the way, and whether those experiences in our minds are in the peaks of life, provide us like some darkness, the valleys of life that have that darkness, or in the peaks, it's just having that awareness to recognize that we're here for a reason. And so my next guest, Chantel, I'll let her introduce herself to you and share a little bit about her story. But I met Chantel back in the day, like 2018, another wonderful person that came into my life through LinkedIn. And I just remember we were just laughing about it because we had a conversation, and that's what you did back then. You just met people, you connected, you took a conversation offline, whether it's via phone or Zoom, and just like an introduction, just to understand a little bit about ourselves and each other. And we just vibed, like our energy clicked, like all of the things we talked about at the time. And then I think maybe a couple of days later, Chantel posted on LinkedIn that she talked to me, and like overnight, she was just such this bright light on the platform that like overnight my LinkedIn connections kind of blew up, which I think was kind of funny and fun too. So Chantel, I am so grateful that you are here. She's a mom. She is a badass. She is an entrepreneur. She is all the things, and she is living with some health concerns, issues. I don't know, diagnosis. You can explain it along the way. Chantel, welcome, and I'd love for you to introduce yourself.
Thank you so much. Yes, a lot of things, right? I remember when we talked many years ago, and it doesn't seem like that long. It kind of seems like yesterday. Time goes by way too quick. But when we connected, it was beautiful because you shared your story with me, and I shared a little bit of opening up on LinkedIn. And a lot of people are like, why did you go to LinkedIn of all social media platforms? That's kind of a weird space to share your story and open up about living with chronic illness or being a working disabled adult. And I chose it because it's a safe space. So my story is that a few years ago, 10 years ago now, right after I had my baby boy, who was a total surprise and a little miracle baby of his own, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. I had accepted a job that fell through, and I was jobless and stressed, and I started to go blind in one eye. And then the other vision, kind of just like when you're looking into a mirror and it's a little foggy, when you get out of the shower or something like that, it's just got that little glaze over it. That's kind of how my vision was. So I thought it would just go away. But then my legs started to get affected. And at one point, I couldn't get out of bed. And my husband had to be a new dad, new husband, and a caregiver in a very short time. So it was definitely a challenge, but boy, has it also been the biggest blessing. And I know you can't think about the downfalls, the nosedive, as we were talking about it earlier, as a gift when you're in it. but afterwards, it really is the best thing that could have happened to me. And people think I'm crazy for saying that, and that's fine. So since then, I've really just been on my journey to help inspire other adults who might be going through some challenges as a leader in marketing. A fractional chief marketing officer is what I do today, but also speak about all of the beautiful ebbs and flows of what it takes to be a mom, a working mom that has chronic illness.
Yeah, and I thank you for sharing that. And yeah, that moment when we get like that diagnosis, right? It's got to be hard. I mean, to yes, you have to like process so many things that are happening to you, but also at the same time not allow that diagnosis to like become you. I am Chantel and I have multiple sclerosis, right? Like I mean, and not like to be able to separate that. Talk a little bit about how you kind of separated that um from who Chantel is, and we're able to kind of live with and function with that diagnosis and like be that inspiration for others. Because you and I were talking beforehand, one thing that I recall distinctly that you shared with me and on the platform form of LinkedIn in sharing your story and helping others is really kind of referring to your diagnosis or your disability, as we are kind of taught to think of it, as being someone who is differently abled. And so I just loved that and related to that term so much because you're Chantel. This is one aspect of who you are that makes you like different, but you're still abled. So will you talk a little bit about that experience?
Absolutely. It was, I can't sell myself short because it was hard and it wasn't easy at first. And it felt like there was no hope and that I felt like it was a death sentence. Everyone that I knew who had multiple sclerosis was either in a wheelchair or, they were over the age of 70. And it's half because people just don't talk about these things, but also because it's like those are the most visible ailments, or people in wheelchairs that require such a little bit of a boost. And there's no cure, so they're still testing things and treatments and everything like that. And basically my solace really came from my support from my family. I'm a daddy's girl. My parents and I are very, very close. And my dad was doing all the research he could while seeing me kind of struggle. And he found a study on the brain. And most of the studies were done post-mortem. So there wasn't a lot of information on active brains in overcoming the myelin elimination. Um, so when I learned about neuroplasticity, which is basically reframing, yes, reframing your thought process to reconnect new synapses, that's where I was really excited. And I thought there might be hope. And my dad and I went down this crazy pathway of like, well, let's try this. Let's try this. Let's try keto. Let's try plant-based. Let's try meditation, and he was with me a lot of the way because of his degenerative neuropathy. He's got neuropathy. And it's with him, with the support, that's really where the hope came from. That's really where the attitude adjustment came from. It takes time to grieve. You have to grieve. I feel like you can't just compartmentalize and move forward. You really need to face it for what it's worth and work through it, not around it.
Well, thank you so much. I was getting like a little like giddy because it's so true. Like when you talk about, I mean, you talk about the body aspects, the different diets and foods and lifestyles that you've changed to live with this diagnosis, but also that mindset aspect. Like the neuroplasticity really is everything. You can like shape your thoughts and your beliefs and your attitude around it through affirmation, through the repetition, through surrounding yourself with those that are bringing you like that support and guidance along the way. That was really super key in what you're sharing. And also recognizing too that we all have a choice. Yes, we have a support system to lean on, and to help guide us. But really, at the end of the day, like that support system is there to help us, but you are taking responsibility for your attitude, for your thoughts, for your actions, for how you're going to let this, bring you down, or whether or not you can lean into that aspect of faith and spirituality, and that can kind of bring you forward. And you seem to have done that, in a beautiful way for others, who are on that similar path, who might have that aspect. So I'd love for you to talk a little bit about, like your spiritual journey, and how you became, because I believe that there's like part, there's their physical world, like our career, our life, our choices, all those things, but there's really this like unknown aspect that can be like our guidance system, that is personal to us, that we can learn along the way. So that's a big part of, this podcast and what I talk about. So talk about your like spiritual, journey and awakening as well.
Wow, was it a journey? Ugh, it was a lot of emotions, you're angry and you want to blame someone or something, like, why would God do this to me? But then it's like, well, hold on, pause, reverse, and reflect on things. And then I thought about the bigger picture. I do believe that I'm not here just to walk around in this body like skin suit, this meat suit, and just get by day to day. I feel like there's a bigger purpose, and the people in my life. I stopped believing in coincidences and started to surrender. And I think feeling that, that's easy to say, but it's easier to say than it is to do, especially when you have like OCD or you're a type A personality like me. But really being able to surrender to facing the facts. Like, listen, some things are out of our control, and that's okay. It's okay to not be okay. I remember you telling me that one time too. And it's so crazy. These things stick with you forever, Alison. But being able to just go with the flow and surrender to the bigger picture and what's out there is a beautiful gift. So, knowing that, okay, Western medicine is failing me and my condition because we still don't have a cure. And even the treatments I'm off of because the side effects were more turbulent than the disease itself, where I was going to be on oxygen because my pulmonary obstruction kept occurring. And or the other one that gave me heart attack, or the other one that gave me seizures, like that, it's crazy. So to be able to just surrender and know we barely scratched the surface of our understanding of who we are, these like beautiful, incredible, miraculous humans that we are, and the capabilities that we have to be better humans for ourselves and for our community, is something that really woke me up as well. So on that spiritual journey, I really understood myself a lot more. And some of that came with hiring an executive coach in one of my roles. She opened me up to understanding that I'm not the problem, the systems are the problem, which I think, right, is it's easier to like hear that when you've seen it. But when you're in it, you're like, hold on, no, I'm the problem. I need to be more productive. What can I do to do more? And she did the human design assessments. Have you heard of that? Yes, human design was amazing.
Yes, I have. In fact, human design has helped me so much in understanding myself. And I just interviewed, this is going to be part of this season, somebody to talk a little bit more about the human design. So talk a little bit about how that helped you with your human design.
Yes, I human design helped me a lot because it helped me understand the personality type that I am and my natural gifts, if you will, based on the assessment. And I got to kind of knuckle that up with the working genius assessment, where I'm at and what my natural like working styles are and the ones that drain me so that I don't do the ones that drain me. I delegate those to my team. So it's really helped me understand, okay, one of the interesting things about human design is that it tells you what your best environment is. And when they told me that I'm a hermit, it's my personality type. Are you too? No, you're not. Oh,
Well, I'm a 6'2" projector, and so I'm a role model and hermit. I have those together in my like projector type, and like have learned, but I do have hermit really identified with me too. I feel like I've been in this like hermit mode for like I don't even know, last few years or something, but like it's okay. Like I used to feel like I was an extrovert, and to me hermit is like embracing like that introvert, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm more of an introvert." That's so funny.
this is probably why we connected so well.
Right.
I think I'm a 6'1" or 6'2" or something like that, but projector as well. So
Oh, you are?
yeah,
Okay.
that makes sense.
Right.
But it's interesting to know what like style you are and how you exhaust your energy in certain spaces and being able to control your environment. And again, maybe that's my type A, but the cave situation is really being able to have your safe space to come to and control who comes in and who comes out. And that was beautiful because I was able to really function well in my safe space, distraction free, versus places of perspective, which is my husband's, which is mountaintops. Or my son, he craves community. So his is kitchens, right? So those different things help me understand not just me and how I could be a better, stronger mother and professional and daughter and caregiver, but also how I can interact and collaborate and work with other people in my life, whether that's personal or professional.
Right, because that comes in and we do, we're not in that hermit all by ourselves all the time. Like we do have those relationships and have to be, functioning in a society with other human beings, right? But the more we can learn about ourselves, it's how we kind of respond and react and exist in that environment. But also we can learn that about other people as well, and like how they are and how we can relate. It's really fun. Isn't it fun? Isn't it fun to you?
So fun. I just love learning new things. Like the
Yeah.
whole we talk about so much bigger than us. Like the world is just so vast and we hardly know a thing yet, even though we think we know everything. But even like the fifth dimension and your consciousness, it's a big deal. And your brain, me going down this loophole of trying to figure out how to repair my brain damage where I had to figure out neuroplasticity or meditation or just controlling your thought process and being as strategic as possible with what I let in and what comes out. That stuff is so instrumental. I mean, manifestation, all of that, it's real stuff. It really is. And we're just figuring it out in the fifth dimension or what the consciousness power really is.
Yeah. And also I think there's an aspect of that in the awakening process that we're coming to understand and like look at it and be like, wait, there's so much more than what we were taught to believe,
Mhm.
right? And what has been brought down from the systems, medical system, educational system, like even the family dynamic of what we grew up in, what we absorbed and how we learned. Like the awakening is being able to like take a step back and look at what's going on around us and understand that there are more aspects. And when you learn about yourself, that you are curious and you love to learn, and you're like following the breadcrumbs that are coming along the way for you, it's really satisfying, and like this electricity, like I even speaking with you now, like I can feel my energy is like, oh yeah, okay, like there's some synapses flying through here, like that connection is really cool. And when you can find that in other relationships, is really quite wonderful. And you've talked a little bit about your children and how you're recognizing this as them. You are and working through your chronic illness and job changes and career shifts and life and relationships. We as mothers, are there as like this role model to exemplify and show them strength, but also kind of give them like the space to be who they are. Like, how do you find that is you have two beautiful babies, yes?
Yes. Oh, I have one, my 10-year-old. So when I went through my diagnosis, I couldn't really hold him much
Mm,
because I was so afraid I'd have a seizure and drop him.
mm,
So I know it was difficult. We had a very unique upbringing with him because I was so sick for such a long time and I needed him to grow up extra fast. And he has Tourette syndrome, which is hereditary. So it runs in the family. But most people confuse Tourette syndrome with tics or shouting or swearing or yelling or movements, aggressive movements. And what, vocal and physical tics are very common, but it's just a tiny little piece of the whole umbrella of Tourette's. There's also autism, OCD, insomnia. Sometimes there's other things that are extremely disruptive. So being able to understand the whole scope of things a little bit better than myself, I get it, cool. Diversity is really awesome. The disability community, that like we are differently abled, we aren't disabled. There is a way to just pull out more than just locking us up in a home and giving us social security. That doesn't make sense to me. But I digress. That's a bigger topic. With my son, it was really being more of a advocate for him and his healthcare as well, because I had to struggle through it myself, and seeing him, get teased and get judged for his social downfalls because of that part of the spectrum that he's on, where he doesn't see and interact like other children. But he's the most empathetic, sweetest giver and caregiver that I have ever been so lucky to be able to be around, let alone call my son. And being able to advocate for him and turn him into an advocate for himself, so he can enter a room and say, yeah, I have Tourette syndrome, and sometimes I make weird noises or I make some movements and I like to touch things. That's one of his tics, is he has to touch things. And so him just owning it and being open about it allows people to understand him better, so that we can be a better community, better people, because they will support him. Like, people want to understand, and these kids, they want to give, they want to support and care. They're good humans, they're better than us. So we got to keep like advocating for them and showing that they need to advocate for themselves, because when there's not an adult around, they need to know how to do the right thing and say the right thing.
yeah, what a beautiful thing to teach, right? Like that confidence that comes from like, in spite of these things, these are my gifts. This is who I am. I love, I mean, in my career, I was led to, through changing careers. Now I work with 4 and 5 year olds every day. So like that's like the foundation, right? They're learning and absorbing so much. And like, yes, they're different. Like there's various spectrums, and different diagnosis and different aspects from the home life. All of it gets factored into who these children are. But I think it's so important as parents, as moms, to be in that place to lift them up and help them recognize the strengths that make them unique and help bring that confidence into them. And that's through our own life experience, how we show it, what we teach them. I mean, they become who we talk to them about who they are, right? And being mindful of that is so important. And then your other son is 3, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So was he a surprise? I know you said your first son was like, yeah, like
Yeah.
not planned, right? And so was he,
Yeah, with my first son, there was like a 0.5% chance, like not even a 1% chance of him joining us on this journey. And here he is.
miracle.
I know. And wouldn't you know? And then my other son, he was something that I had prayed for a long
Oh.
time. And he finally came around and was our little COVID baby. And he is the easiest child I have ever just it's I mean, he found out candy. He discovered, I mean, we just had Halloween, right? But he discovered candy and sugar. And boy, did that make him into a different human. It's like you can bribe him to do anything with that, but also he doesn't sleep.
God, sugar is,
I
whew,
know.
like, yeah. Talk about learning, how the mind, body, and spirit come together. Yeah, like different aspects of that. Oh, that's so sweet. And so now, where are you on your path today? We were talking, you're in a career transition period, and talk about like kind of how you, because when we were talking, you were sharing how you were looking at this, your life's perspective, right? Going through the valleys and the peaks that you have already, that we've talked about a few of them. Like, where are you now? Because your perspective is such a beautiful one, in your attitude and how you're looking at this, but also you're in a place where you're transitioning careers, and this was a aspect of when you got your diagnosis years ago. So that's got to be like
Yes.
super, like, yeah.
A little bit of a trigger for sure. So, yes, when I got my diagnosis and I started getting sick, I was unemployed, and so was my husband. So, we were completely like incomeless, and that stress really does cause serious inflammation. So, I left my job. I was laid off on October 2nd, and I felt it coming, when you're aware and you're intentional, you know these things. And so I had been looking into other opportunities for quite some time, and I don't believe in coincidences. So I have made a couple connections. And this time around, I'm not feeling bad for myself. I'm not thinking, why me? I lost something. No, they lost me. And I don't say that with any kind of ego or a chip on my shoulder or anything like that. But I really do feel that I'm ready for what's designed for me, what's my purpose. And that is where I am appreciated and valued for my wisdom and my adversity and my diversity that I bring to the table. Because where there is in my field as a fractional CMO, or now that I'm in marketing leadership and have been for quite some time, creativity comes with flexibility. It comes with space. It comes with being valued and having your fan flamed or flame fanned. Oh my word. You know what I'm talking about. I need someone to fan my flame, right? And I need that to be usually the executive team, to help bring new ideas forward and create a safe space where everyone can share. Because when it comes to collaborative thinking, that's where real creativity blossoms. So that's where I am today. I'm starting to work with new clients, and I've worked on a couple projects recently with some incredible humans, and people are just connecting with my story and with my community. People, the more I talk and the more open I am, the more magic that seems to kind of pull on through. So I kind of wish more people knew that with their voice comes power. Their voice is power. Their voice is powerful. And when they open up and own their story and who they are, and they share it with people who want to listen, obviously not the people who are just turn away, like, listen to me. No, that doesn't work. But when they do share their story, it's empowering, not just for them, but for the people around them.
For sure. Wow. It is. It is. And I love that encouragement that you bring to invite others to share their story, to shine their light, to, you know, because it's hard. That's scary, right? Because the ego comes in and be like, who do you think you are? Like, what's happening? Why do you think people are going to care? Like that voice of fear. But we work on the neuroplasticity, and we work on our confidence, and the listen to our intuition to just tell us that, we are inspiring. We can share our light. We have a light that's meant to be shined. And also tying it all together to trust the process. that's been a really big theme that's coming up for me. And that has been coming up for me too. Like going back to you sharing about surrender and learning to surrender, like trusting that process, knowing that it may not feel good right now. We can be aware of what's happening, or it may feel amazing right now, but knowing that there are those peaks and there's valleys, but to just stay grounded and trust the process because you never know what's coming right on the other side. You can have intentions and understand, like, I mean, I never thought, I mean, COVID was a big catalyst for me to make changes, but like if I go back 5 years ago, okay, like I couldn't have pictured that, like I'd be a teacher and teaching pre-K. Like, those things you can't predict. So you never know what's right around the corner for you and your life, and to just keep moving forward and trust the process for sure.
Absolutely. There was that saying for a long time there that the queen said, keep calm and carry on. Well, I don't keep calm. I'm not the type of person to keep calm, but I am the type of person to just like, don't panic, right? So maybe don't panic comes before trust the process. And then you can kind of start the process,
Sure. Yeah. I mean, you have to be conscious and aware of what's going on. Like, I mean, like taking the time to be conscious and like be with yourself. Like you've learned through your human design where you best function, the environment, that place where you have the opportunity to rest and you can have that flexibility for your creativity to come out, right? Like that's part of trusting the process. You're conscious and aware of what you need so that you don't fall into that panic mode, right? And then because we go through the panic mode, the panic mode comes, and then we're like, wait a second. You have to release your anger, your sadness, your emotion, your fear, but then kind of like, okay, I'm good. I can move forward like one step at a time, one day at a time, and then the next thing you know, you look back and you're like, oh my God, look where I am. It's
I don't
amazing.
even recognize that woman. Yeah.
No, 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 no.
There's so much to be said about intention with just being aware. There's so many people who are so narrow focused. Like it's just you get in your car and you drive to your job and you're not worried about anybody else but you and your car and your bubble. You get there, you do your job, you go home, that kind of thing. But when you open it all up and you're more intentional, it's like, okay, well, maybe I should slow down and let these people in. Maybe they're having a hard day today, or maybe I should pull over and stop because this person's on the side of the road and maybe they don't have a car jack or a tire iron. So all of these little things that can just make not just us better humans for ourselves, but better humans for the world around us has that ripple effect to just keep on changing lives. And it starts with that awareness before the intention, and then intention follows.
For sure. Well, thank you so much for sharing all your light and wisdom and beauty with me today. Is there anything else that you are feeling called to share that maybe we haven't touched on yet?
I just think it's so funny that we're both projectors. It makes sense though. Did you know that they're new? Like projectors have
Yes.
only been around for the last like 200 years.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Fascinating. You gotta
I
wonder
know.
what's up with that consciousness to be able to build the new formulations. I don't know.
I don't know. Like somebody, like yeah, the person who like yeah, like brought about human design, that was downloaded human design and the different aspects that go with it. Like when it was started, they didn't even know about projectors. Like so it's crazy like how all of that comes out. But then once you like understand it and learn it better, like projectors are bigger, waiting for the waiting their strategies, waiting for the invitation, like okay, and like recognizing what is an invitation and what is not, and like and then there are other types that are meant to be the doers and the people who like make all the things and like build all the things, and like that's not my job, like which is okay, like once you know that, because like we could be brought up to think I have to do, people please, do all the things, make all the choices. It's just really cool and reassuring and like, all right, I can cut myself some slack here. Like it's who I am. This is great.
Exactly. I think it's so there's just something so empowering about knowing your own truth because your truth is yours and yours alone. And no one else can tell you what that is. You really have to do the work, unfortunately. It's hard and it
I
takes time, but boy, is
I
it
know.
beautiful.
It is. Well, that's definitely a great message to come through is that like to just do the work and it's hard and recognize that, you're going to go through all of these things, but it's part of your path and your journey. And yeah, I think our intention has come through for this episode. And so I want to thank you so much for joining me and invite those that I'll be sure to include Chantel's all her contact information so that you can connect with her if you feel called to do so. And thank you so much for coming on here. And for those that are listening, please like and subscribe and share and do all the things. Leave me a review wherever you listen to podcasts or if you're watching this on YouTube. Just giving me and my community and those that are listening the opportunity to go grow and reach more women, men, humans that are on their path to finding life and career satisfaction, who are transforming and evolving along the way, finding their spiritual fertility on this beautiful path. So, thanks again, Chantel.
Thank you.